Welcome to another episode of the Alignment Podcast. Excited to have Steve here with us today. Welcome, Steve. Thanks for coming on the show.
Happy to be here, Jacob. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, to get started off, would love to have you introduce yourself. Tell us what you've what you've done in your career and life so far, and what you're most excited about right now.
Career and life and what I'm most excited about, man. That's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll keep it simple at first. Career. I spent most of my career in sales and marketing, and over the course of the last 5 years, I've had the pleasure of working in this company called Ruvix. In that time at Ruvix, we're like a professional services company that does marketing, license compliance, things like that. But we're fully remote. We don't even have an office anywhere right now. And over the years, I've kind of established myself as a leader at the company. I'm the CRO there now. And it is kind of my purpose there to build an organization worth working for. We're really trying hard to build something that obviously delivers value for the clients, but the people actually enjoy getting up in the morning and working at.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
all remote. How many people work there?
it's probably close to 150 now.
Okay, and it's like all around the world, right?
All around the world, yeah. Gosh, I don't know how many countries, but it's probably like 30 or 40 different countries.
Wow. So I know what it's like to work remote with other people in the US where we have somewhat similar work experiences. What has that been like growing a team? Because I know when we first met, the team was way smaller and you guys have grown a ton. What's that been like growing and trying to be intentional about making a place that people actually want to work at?
You know, a lot of these big tech companies have very explicit ways that they do that by having fun things in the office and foosball tournaments and
Yeah.
things along those lines. What we found is that it's really a lot simpler than that. And it's just about treating people with respect and kindness and having kind of a culture of people that you bring on board who have those values and share those values in whatever we're doing. So it's more really a value driven culture. And we are very intentional about it because we have conversations about our culture. We have conversations about the way that we treat people, not just the work that we're doing, which resonates across all cultures, all people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like somebody in Egypt doesn't have the same explicit experience as I do in their work life or their personal life or how they grew up, but they understand respect, they understand kindness, they understand what it
Yeah.
means to feel like they're part of something. They understand how it feels. We all understand how it feels to be a part of a place that perpetuates those values.
That's awesome. What's your hit rate on hiring people? How do you increase the likelihood that you're going to bring somebody on who fits and like understands what it feels like and wants to be a part of something like that?
Yeah, it's hard to articulate the vibe that you get
Yeah.
from an interview. And I'm not necessarily explicitly hiring everybody at the company myself anymore. We've got a
Yeah.
recruiting team that manages all of that. But a big piece of when we bring somebody on is not just do you have the experience or the knowledge. Frankly, experience and knowledge don't even necessarily always matter in every role that we hire for. But you're really just kind of looking for a vibe check, more or less, right? You ask personal questions. You see if they can talk about things that they're excited about. You test them with ideas and philosophies that you might have, and kind of see really just how they react to some of the things that you say and to the conversation that you're having. And you can, I mean, we get it wrong a lot, right? We've released people before who were actually some of the best people at the job that they do, but they didn't bring positivity to the culture that we were trying to build. Those are tough releases because it's like you got to explain to your client, we don't have this person anymore. I know that you loved working with them because they delivered, but like they didn't make us feel good. Like
Yeah.
they made other people on the team hate their life. So you got to keep it up after you hire somebody. It's never possible during an interview process to really understand who you're hiring. And so what we find is that most people are really interested in being positive, right? So you call the ones that aren't, you hire for what you think is, and then you also just perpetuate what we believe here, and people kind of tend to also fall in line. So it's not always about hiring the right people per se, but it's about onboarding those people with the experience that we want them to have so that they start to mold into the culture that we want to be building. I see a lot of like really good professionals who come on and they've come from the corporate world and they don't want to smile, and they don't want to say anything that's a little too fun or, a little edgy or anything like that. And breaking them down and not like brainwashing them or anything like that, but just like giving them environments where they feel like they can kind of relax and be themselves and be authentic tends to bring out the best in people.
So what does that onboarding look like?
The onboarding is pretty straightforward and frankly not very structured. But what we do is with the leadership team that I bring on, for example,
Yeah.
we will bring them on and the onboarding itself is just like, hey, here's the tech, here are the tools, here's what we do,
Yeah.
very basic stuff, right? Get you set up. And then it's just talking to people, right? I try to introduce everybody that I bring on to the leaders at our company who are both in the functional space that they're going to be working in and people who are not, who I consider really kind of I call them keepers of the culture, so to speak,
Sure.
right? Because I know that when somebody speaks to this other person or these other people, that they're going to start to feel that magic of what we've been trying to create here, and they're going to come back to me after a few conversations and be like, "Okay, you talked about the fact that Rubik's was a fun place to work and blah blah blah, just like every company does, but I've never had conversations with this many people who are genuinely they seem excited to work here." So it's really just kind of letting them know that these people are real. We're having a good time. Go talk to them. And these are leaders at our company too, and see what it's like interacting with them so that you can feel like I can interact that way as well.
That's awesome. I think see it's easy for teams and companies to like bring people on and say, "Hey, here's how we are."
Yeah.
And like everybody wants to be like, "We're collaborative and like we're a safe space to share ideas and we have fun." But really it becomes like, "Okay, well, what's the real experience of it?" And if they don't experience somebody who is that and lives that, it doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. You quickly pick up on those things. It's like, all right, you guys say these things, but no one's acting that way. So what's really going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, my first job out of college, I worked at a place. They touted, "Hey, we have awesome work-life balance.
Yeah.
Work from anywhere." Right? This
Uh-huh.
is this is like, 2015, 2016. Hey, work from anywhere. It's
Hmm.
awesome. I remember one of the more senior guys. It was like me and him in the office one time. Most people were not in the office. It was like there
Yeah.
were two people with desks. It was just couches. People just sit on the couches because
Yeah.
people weren't there all the time. One guy's like, "Yeah, dude, I love it here. I go on vacation all the time. I just take my laptop and I sit by the pool and I work on my computer while my kids swim. Like it's the best." And I was like, "That's not vacation, dude.
No, that's just work.
Like that's work." And like the culture that was unspoken was like, "Hey, if you don't respond within 3 minutes, people are
Yeah.
gonna start to wonder like, what are you doing? Are you even working here? Do you have another job?" Like it was just this weird like, yeah, have all the flexibility you want, but like your leash here is so short that like it was not healthy.
Yeah, yeah, that's a dangerous place to get to, right? And especially depending on the position that you have at the company, right? That
Yeah.
may or may not be the case. At Rubik's, I'll say that when I go on vacation, unless I'm hiking in the mountains or something like that, and I
Yeah.
just don't really have the ability to bring my computer, I have my computer with me and I'm on at night doing emails and chatting with people and things like
Yeah.
that. But I'll spend most of the day, with the family. I might be checking my phone every now and then and responding to people, but that's because of the position that I'm in, right? I'm helping
Yeah.
build this business. No one's holding me to that. If I didn't respond to them, it's not like somebody would come down on me and be like, "Hey, Steve, I know you said you're on vacation, but we need you responding to people." But when people leave for vacation, I try very intentionally to make sure that they have that vacation if they can. If they can, it's the the benefit of working remotely is that you have a lot of flexibility, but one of those drawbacks is that you have to be capable of managing it appropriately, and
Yeah.
ultimately we're not tracking hours. We don't even have paid, like, you get paid what you get paid. We don't have time off per se. It's you take whatever time you need off, you do whatever you need to do to get the job done. And so if you're capable of getting your job done, I don't care when you work, how you work, for how long, from where, any of that stuff, but the job's got to get done, of course. And a lot of the reason for that is because we can't build something great and have a place that people like working unless we are successful from a
Yeah.
financial perspective. And so it'd be great to be like, yeah, everybody just come join Rubik's and, we're just going to party and have a great time and respect each other and build a great culture and who cares about anything else? No, like bottom line, we got to deliver excellent products, excellent services for our clients because revenue needs to come in and profitability needs to exist for us to empower
Yeah.
ourselves to actually enjoy doing it. But yeah, that balance is tough. I have a guy who's on my leadership team right now, and he was the workaholic kind of guy. He is a workaholic kind of guy,
Sure.
right? Like if he's got a project he needs to get done, he will work 100 hours a day. He doesn't I don't know where he finds the time. And he'd been talking about Japan for such a long time. Like, oh, I want to go see Japan, blah, 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 but I can't, I gotta work. And he has busted his ass for years at our organization. And so this at the end of last year, when it came time for like bonuses and conversations around those types of things, me and my CEO, Ling, decided that this guy needs a break and he's not taking it himself, right? So his bonus this year is going to be basically an all expenses paid trip to Japan that he has to take if he wants to get a bonus at all. It's not like you could take cash or a trip to Japan. It's like you got to get out of here. Do not work when you're in Japan. I do not want to hear from you, and go enjoy yourself. You've been talking about doing this for years. Verdict's still out on whether or not he appreciated that or hated it, but he's in Japan right now.
That is so awesome. Like I think a lot about, okay, how do people create places where people actually want to work and environments where like something like that can happen. And I think it ultimately boils down to, which this sounds so silly, but do we actually view our teams as people, and do we treat them as people? Like,
Yeah,
do we recognize, hey, they also are a human being who like finds joy and fulfillment in things aside from just work,
yeah,
and they also find joy and fulfillment in useful and meaningful work, and then doing what we can to help facilitate that and create that.
yeah, man.
Which
That's
it's so silly that it's like so simple, but I think that that's the powerful thing is, okay, can you view people truly like that, and can you treat them like that, and then it's easy to build a culture where people are kind and respectful and work their butts off.
Yeah, it becomes more complicated if things aren't going well with the business itself, because that's when people start to act like, well, we have to stop treating people like people at this point. We need to start
Yeah,
focusing on revenue, and things get tense. Rubik's is fortunate enough that we dealt with that a few years ago, kind of when we were getting started and things
sure.
were tense. We were still good to each other, but we're in a very positive place now. And so it's a lot easier when things are growing and things are profitable to focus on the things that matter. And I think it's a self-perpetuating cycle. I have this code, I suppose, that I use when I have these conversations with my team as well, my leadership team. And I remind everybody regularly about these things. A lot of them are used in different situations, like if something's difficult, or if you fail, or all of these situations that are tough. But the top two things on my code are our purpose is to connect, and life's an adventure, make it fun. And I really try to reiterate with everybody that, like, okay, yeah, again, revenue has to happen. Like, we have to be successful for this to be possible. But like, that's not why we're here. You know, that's just what we have to do, right? We want to connect with each other. We want to connect with our coworkers, our clients. We
Yeah,
want to connect with our industry. We want to just bring humans together, because when we do that, we solve a greater problem than just a shitty work environment. We solve ignorance around the world. We've got an opportunity to connect people globally and have personal relationships with people in Turkey and Israel and in Egypt and South America and Japan, and understand their perspectives, and ultimately find out that we're all just people who are living our lives, and we need to respect that and love each other, and life will be better if we do. We I say we because I'm not the only one perpetuating this. Like,
yeah,
other people at the company are better than me, frankly, at driving our culture forward and ensuring that we're connecting, ensuring that we're having fun when we're doing it. But that's why Rubik's exists at this point. It exists to provide an opportunity for us to connect, for us to have some fun, for us to drive purpose. And there are some necessary evils to make that happen, such as revenue.
yeah, sure. But I think even the necessary evil of dollars flowing in and out drives some of the fulfillment
Oh
where,
yeah.
at the end of the day, you meet people who are, have retired,
Mhm.
and they're then, without purpose,
Yeah.
especially when they retire early,
Yep.
and they're successful late 40s, early 50s with nothing to do, and they're
Yeah.
like, they don't know what to do, and they're miserable. And
Yeah.
so I think about, okay, 30 years when robots do most of our work,
Hmm.
like, how are we all going to be happy? And it's this. Like, it's
It
okay.
is.
How there may be things that a like AI could do it, but the if we find fulfillment and joy in it, and we can do a good job at it,
Hmm.
we should lean into that, because I think that the human experience is going to be the thing. That what prevents everybody from being depressed and suicidal in 30 years when all the meaningful work is taken away.
Yeah,
It's
it's
leaning in and
connection.
recognizing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, and Rubik's, we're lucky because our CEO, his name is Ling Zhao, he was very successful in business, sold the business to Disney, for hundreds of millions of dollars over a
Yeah.
decade ago. Um, for all intents and purposes, the man retired, right? And so now what he does is he just kind of invests in business and invests in people. And I've never been the type of person who I like wealth from the perspective of wealth is opportunity to do more things, right?
Sure.
But I never intend on retiring and going and playing golf or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to buy a boat and go sail the ocean, right? If I people always ask, Rubik's is growing. Are you guys going to sell the business? Are we thinking about propping this up for investors and getting those? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Neither Ling nor I are interested in selling Rubik's at this point because what it is a platform to provide purpose and opportunities and connection and all of these things. And if I sell it, what am I going to go do with that money? Start another business to do exactly those same
Yeah.
things. I have purpose here. We can drive a real meaningful impact here, and other people can find their purpose here, in being successful and growing together. And so it's just like with two people at the top of the organization who really have those same values and who are not interested in wealth accumulation, it allows us to really just think about, okay, if this is going to be around forever, what do we want to feel like when we wake up in the morning, and what do we want this company to feel like when they keep coming to work every day? And it's, yeah, we want it to be fun, you know.
That's awesome. And it seems to be working.
It does, yeah. It works for now. It's been a couple years, right? I always wonder when the ball's going to drop, or the other shoe's going to drop, or whatever it is, and when we're going to find out that, oh no, Steve, you live in a little bubble, with your leadership team and a few of your managers and the people you've worked with, but everyone else hates it, because as far as I can tell, it's working and it's perpetuated throughout the entire organization. And I see a lot of it. I got to go to Rio de Janeiro a few weeks ago and spend some time with our Brazilian team down there, who I don't get to interface with a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to me because connection is something that I value so much. It's so fun, but I got to connect with those guys when I was down there, and it was amazing just seeing how they felt about the organization and spending time with them. And it's just like, I think this is working. I think we're really onto something here.
That's awesome. That's so fun. It's always so encouraging to hear organizations who are doing this,
Yeah.
because I truly think that this is the long term win. Can you create groups of people who, where connection is a top priority, and that building fulfillment as a feature, not a unintentional byproduct, is really the way that we will all win long term.
Yeah, yeah. And the nice thing about it is when you build that, you also build a revenue generating engine that
Yep.
perpetuates, right? And so you can continue to do it and you continue to deliver a great experience and value to your clients. I mean, when our clients get on the phone with us and our team, they love it, right? They love talking to us, they love working
Yeah.
with us because our people are happy, and so they're happy to do the work, and they're excited about coming. So it's yeah, it's a really, really fun environment, and it's just like this upward perpetuating cycle of something that I never thought existed. Um, and I'm really, really fortunate to be part of this organization.
And now you're part of creating it. So that's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, Steve, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today.
that was my pleasure,
Really
man.
excited about all that Rubik's is doing. And if people want to follow along and learn more about Rubik's, what's the best place to follow you online, or to learn about
Yeah,
what you're doing?
ultimately, Rubix.com, our website, ruvixx.com, and our LinkedIn page is where we're going to be posting a lot more content, particularly about these topics and all kinds of other stuff. So follow us there.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show. It was awesome
Awesome.
talking.
Thanks, Jacob.